Hello and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast. This is Brad that you are looking at, and hopefully I can get myself in there at some point, but I don't know for sure.
Okay then. Right
Well,
now, are you mysterious voice
yeah.
or are you in a little
We
box?
are doing an experiment, so you may not see uh, the OBS part because I don't know if I can get it working, but I am experimenting to see if we can get a smoother transition and media filled experience, even though we are using Skype, which kind of limits us in its interaction with OBS. So, uh, what I said may make no sense to you and may never make sense to you because you may never see the results. I don't know. Anyways,
All it
how's your
means is we're
Memorial Day
constantly
weekend going?
trying. It is going like no Memorial Day weekend I've ever had. Um,
Really?
that, yeah, really. Well,
No Memorial.
it's been weird. It started raining here 2 days ago, and it hasn't stopped, and it's not projected to stop for another 3 days, which
Mm.
is very unnatural for Florida weather. Really, really unnatural. Not that we don't get rain, we just don't get rain for more than
You
an hour or two.
you do get rain.
We're getting all of our rain for
I
the
have
year.
been to Florida before, and I know you get the same amount of rain in 1 hour that Washington State gets in 3 months.
Okay, that's
Because
probably true.
it comes down in little sheets.
Yes, it does. But it
In
usually,
Washington, it's individual raindrops floating down gently.
oh, I don't remember what that's like at all. I just, here it will kill you. If you don't have a steel umbrella or a Kevlar umbrella, you have to watch out because it's
Yes,
pretty
uh,
intense.
I've been there before, so I know what it's like. It's like, oh, here comes rain, and instant drowning.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There
It
is
comes down
no,
so hard that it's almost like it's raining up at the same time.
oh, there are times that it's coming at you from all
Yes,
directions. It's the
yep,
only state I've ever had that happen to me where
yep.
it was literally bouncing all
No
over.
hiding from it ever.
None. It was like pachinko in rain. It was
Yes.
crazy.
So,
Yes.
obviously, if you were watching last week, you know that Brad was out sick. He is feeling much better.
I
He got
am.
better.
Say what?
He got better.
I did.
Monty Python reference.
I
Sorry.
know. I know. No, no, I understand. I'm not dead, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what were your highlights of the week, Brad?
Getting better. Getting better was my highlight of the week.
That's always a good highlight. Yes.
No, really, I was stressed out because, we've been doing our Echo Arena every day, 24/7.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody playing anything else these days for more than a few minutes. But um, so anyway, for those of you that don't know, I was ill, and just playing that while I was ill was keeping me even more ill. So I had to really take a break for a while. But I was
Yeah.
back into it this week,
Yeah. You
and
were quite uh, impaired as a result.
oh yeah, yeah, I felt really bad for you guys playing with me, and just I just was bad, really bad. As a matter of fact, I said to Josh, "What does this say?" I couldn't even read
Yeah.
the instructions for the
Yeah.
tournament. But
I know.
yeah, crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But much better now. So, but I did pick up a copy of coloring book because
Cool.
when I used to be sick, my parents would get me a coloring book.
Okay.
So I thought that was appropriate. And I picked up some sale stuff, like I expect you to die. I got, which I've been looking at ever since I picked up the Quest. Actually, ever since I had my Rift, the first one.
Right.
But
Well, I would just like you to know that I don't expect you to die.
and I will seek to fulfill your um,
Your desires.
well. I don't know if it's a desire that expressed so much as a wish fulfillment, but I guess sort of similar.
Either way.
Either
Either
way.
way. Either way it
Uh,
works.
And the other highlight, of course, was seeing that they finally put hand tracking on the game that I bought 6 months ago when they announced that they were going to be doing hand tracking. And I figured Waltz of the Wizard is the perfect game for hand tracking. And it's been sitting there for 6 months waiting for the implementation of hand tracking.
Yeah. I also tried that out, and yeah, it's pretty good. Hand tracking is still not quite as good as the controller tracking, but yeah.
But it is sort of magical, very Mickey Fantasia type of, being able to just move your hands and actually teleporting too was kind of easy. It was a pretty nice system.
Yeah.
So I did start the game with controllers. I stopped because I wanted to play it with, just hands and see what the experience was like. And it is a completely different experience. It really is sort of magic. If you want to show somebody magic, that's the way to do it. And Elixir was very good also for introduction.
I found that it was kind of the other way around with Waltz of the Wizard. I started off with the hand tracking, and then the next time I did it, I used my controllers because in the one thing where you're supposed to pick up the sword and the shield and whatnot, and you got that big menacing shadow coming toward hand tracking, I had to go and I kept knocking the shield around and not being able to grab it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that shows you what the problem is with hand tracking.
Right.
That type of approach.
And in the big maze one, where you've got the obstacles and you have to shoot the orbs with whatever you've got and whatnot in the night. Right. I found that I couldn't run reliably with the hand tracking. Because you have to have your hand in your field of view, and I'd be going and I'd just be walking forward while the big wall of spikes is chasing me and then impales me and keeps on going.
Yeah, the wall has no respect. It just has no respect. I feel like Rodney Dangerfield. But right, I mean, that's the problem that they're going to have to enhance, obviously, in hand tracking. But just the implementation is great.
Yeah. So, but everything else was really great about it. And the Elixir, I got to the secret message part. I don't know if you got that or not.
I didn't. But I was rushing to get to Waltz of the Wizard. I would just sort of...
In order to get to the secret message part, you have to obey the sorceress and don't poke the eye.
Sort of like the alchemist who gave us the way to make gold out of lead. You know that, right? How to do that?
You paint it.
No. You, while stirring the lead, you have to not think of the word rhinoceros.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. That's the whole secret.
Okay.
Good luck stirring lead and not thinking of rhinoceros now.
I never think of rhinoceros when I stir lead, because I never stir lead.
I was going to ask how often you stir lead. I know the last time I stirred lead was ages ago. And,
so, some of my highlights are the same as yours, obviously. Echo VR, staying better.
Really?
It's Elixir, Waltz of the Wizard, and I also checked out War Remains on the Oculus Rift using Shadow and Virtual Desktop, and an older app from BBC called 1943 Berlin Blitz. I streamed those to my Facebook gaming page just like an hour or so ago, and as a Memorial Day stream to remind us of why we remember. What are we remembering? Yeah. So
Yeah, I know, and it gets confusing this year as to what exactly we're remembering.
right.
Yeah.
So
But oh
I
yeah,
gotta
I
say,
did
War
like your
Remains
running commentary.
was very intense, and having gone through it, I'm not sure that having it be a longer experience, like a lot of some people in the reviews complained about.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure that having it be a longer experience would really have been a good idea because it was very well done. It was very well scripted, and it was very intense. Had it gone on for too much longer in any of the scenes, I could see it causing problems with some people. So
Hmm.
just because of how intense it is,
Gotcha.
So keeping it short, just long enough to start to feeling what it's like there, but not long enough to start hyperventilating or getting sucked into it.
Right.
Was a smart choice.
No,
So
it sounds like it. Yeah, right. Who wants PTSD after watching a VR
right,
experience?
right,
You know,
exactly.
$4.99 and all the PTSD you can
Yep.
stand.
Free PTSD.
Right, included. Tantra
Yes.
now included. That's the update, the PTSD update.
Yes. Burn Bliss was about the same length, but much less intense because you're in an airplane high above the the more visceral action. But you get to see and hear things happening around you. A couple times the plane gets shaken by an impact, and you see cracks form on the cockpit window and all that. And, so it's got its own moments too, but it's not nearly um, as visceral as the other one was. But both are great experiences. One is World War One, and the other is World War Two. So,
Right.
obviously,
Well, I sort of like your commentary during the second one. When I heard the guy talking about some scene that was going on beneath, and I hear you going, "Indeed." It's like, okay, I'm watching Mystery Science Theater 3000 now. This is interesting, but
yeah. So, anyways, on to our new releases. Elixir. I already talked about it. Waltz of the Wizard. I already talked
we
about
talked about it. Well, okay, Elixir is a great intro app for the
it. Yeah,
hand tracking for
yeah,
free. But
yeah.
Waltz of the Wizard is Elixir on steroids. If you like
And
Elixir,
on drugs.
then it's even better. But that's something that,
Well, no.
uh,
If you drink the potion labeled sight,
oh, uh, see, I'm not saying anything. I'm not. I refuse to fall into that. Not going there. Anyway, but I do recommend Waltz of the Wizards in case anybody wants my
yeah,
opinion. It was not on sale actually, which is really
I know.
surprising.
Well, it's already a reasonable surprise, really.
Oh
But
no, it
but
is.
but yeah, I was kind of expecting it to be also 20% off, just like everything else was.
No, there were some things that were 10%. We're down the rabbit hole. 20% would have been a really good bargain.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that
Um.
$2 off was
Yeah.
really an incentive.
Yeah. That sale was kind of weak. 20% off, 25% off, 10%, 15.
I,
Whereas if you looked at the Oculus Rift anniversary sale, because Rift S came out at the same time,
Mhm.
you had titles that were 70% off.
Right. It made no sense. Really no
Yeah.
sense. Other
And,
than they feel sorry for the people that bought the Rift. That's the only thing I
or they feel sorry for having so much shovelware on the Rift that
yeah.
they discounted all the shovelware 70%.
Right. Well, that's what happens with Viveport too, but it's still,
Right.
some of that shovelware is actually fairly decent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
it's labeled shovelware for a reason. I got it. So
right. Right. So, anyways, and I believe we also had Curious Tale of Stolen Pets hand tracking update. I never bought it. I'm not really planning to because it's way too short for the money. I know you had it originally, but did you refund it or are
oh
you just
yeah, I think I've refunded 2 games since I got the Go. So
okay?
I mean, of my entire library, I let it slide, and that was a fairly inexpensive game.
Okay,
But considering that between the time I started it, got my introduction, and reached the ending, I don't think a half hour passed by. I'm really like, it was
right.
insanely easy, and I don't realize what the purpose of it was unless you're going to give it to a 3-year-old, and I don't think a
Maybe.
3-year-old is going to grab the quest. But now with hand tracking, maybe. Before with the controller, it made absolutely no
Right.
sense.
So, um, either way, I haven't tried the hand tracking update on it. I don't know if you had or cared to,
No,
but
no.
I'm sure that it would feel cool in that app as well. And there will be more hand tracking apps coming out as well. I am sure. I think on the 28th there might be more coming out. I don't know. That was a date floating around, if I remember right, as like the official, thing coming to the store or the deadline to submit a hand tracking update application or something like that. I forget exactly what it was, but
Okay. That was on the blog.
I
You're the
it
way you read
was
it. I know. We
floating
read so
around.
many things. I know.
Floating around is deliberately nebulous and vague.
Okay. That was truly nebulous and vague. I can't do that.
So, we also had Space Team come out as a new release officially.
Hmm.
I have played the demo of it a couple times. It's kind of, in my opinion, like a poor man's version of Star Trek Bridge Crew, but designed to be more chaotic.
Okay. I would say that it's a more graphically pleasing version of Orion Trail, which was on the go, and
Right,
also chaotic and crazy
right,
and terribly I mean, really, the graphics on that were just like they went to see what can we do to make people want to literally get nauseous, and they
right,
succeeded. They
right.
did.
Well, the gameplay is basically you and the rest of
Teammate.
your crew
Hmm.
have to do increasingly fast-paced and random flipping of switches and hitting of levers and hammering things with your hammer, sounding air horns, and all all to get to the next level.
Right.
So,
Just like
yeah,
you've seen on every episode of Star Trek. Really.
yeah, it's a fun a fun party game, but there's no story to it.
Right. It
So
looks like it was really sort of, I don't know what else. Oh, virtual job simulator or virtual,
right,
I don't
yeah,
know.
maybe, yeah.
That,
So it was fun. It was not quite fun enough for me to want to purchase it when it came out, but that's just me. Your mileage may vary. It certainly
right.
wasn't an enjoyable game. So
Uh, if I was going to make a recommendation for a serious investment in a type of game, like I would say Star Trek Bridge Crew, look for that one.
right.
Although I hate to
Except
push it
it's not
because
quite as so chaotic unless we have someone named Brad at the helm.
in which case I can cause some pretty good chaos, you got to admit. You got to shake the game
Move
up.
forward.
Don't make fun of me. Don't mock me again. Um, Yeah, that was fun though. We have to get back into that. But that was good. And also then you should also play Time Stall. If you want to get chaotic, go play Time Stall.
So we also have, this is not on Quest per se in the store. You have to go to the website and to fill out a form, and then you get the install link or whatever, or a key. And I think it's for Quest as well as Rift and all that. I forget offhand. I might want to double check that. But Dr. Crumb's School for Disobedient Pets, also known as the VR escape room that has been making all the round that everyone has talking about. It's a VR escape room that has a live host in it, playing the host and the villain and just setting up all the traps and whatnot. And you and up to 3 friends with you are pets that are trying to escape the evil Dr. Crumb.
Which
So you have different abilities. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say it's a great concept. I love it. It's a little expensive.
Yes.
Actually, it's a lot expensive. With the 50% discount, it makes it reasonable.
Yeah. So I was going to say, for a limited time, I don't know how limited, there are a few codes floating around out there that will give you a 50% one-time discount on it, bringing it from $100 for a full party of 4 to only $50 for a full party of 4.
For under an hour, somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour, I guess, with setup and everything, is what they're saying.
Yeah, or something like that. I mean, obviously, it depends on how slow you go in solving the puzzles, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, we would have to sort of tackle Mikey at the beginning and tie him up and put him in a corner if we wanted to play for more than 10 minutes. Otherwise, he'd find, But other than that, so it looks good, and I think if they have to get their pricing structure right. If they're going to start doing things like Supernatural, and I know that now that Oculus has moved on to their enterprise platform, which we'll talk about later, they're obviously getting set up now to handle more financial transactions, sort of centered around not a one-time purchase.
Well, Supernatural,
a subscription.
Let me finish. Subscription is through their own website. It's not through Oculus.
Right, but
you had to provide them with your credit card or PayPal or whatever, and set it up with them.
Right.
So it's not necessarily that Oculus's end is now set up to allow subscriptions through the store, but they're allowing apps that have a third-party subscription.
That's right. That's what I'm saying, is that third-party app is going to allow you to do financial transactions through, even though it's running on your Quest, you're paying a third party for the app's features,
right.
Which is a unique setup. I mean, I don't think that's really been done that much before, and certainly not by Facebook or Oculus. So
So I don't know. It
could be
does
good.
open the door for subscription apps now that there is a precedence for it, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Depending on the pricing structure and the app itself, it could be a really good thing.
I agree.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say about Dr. Crumb's School for Disobedient Pets is, I seem to remember a few months ago, like near the beginning of the year, before all the lockdown and the quarantine and all that, I seem to remember seeing something calling for VR actors who would be willing to do an hour or two or whatever of paid VR acting for an unnamed project. And now we have Dr. Crumb's School for Disobedient Pets coming out with a live VR actor who is getting paid, obviously, because it's $100 for 4 people to play it.
You
So,
would hope some of it is going for the actor. Yeah.
and I'm wondering, was that post that I saw way back then about this? You know, there could be, and if so, I am really bummed that I missed out because I didn't know that the lockdown was coming at the time. So I went, oh, I don't have the time to dedicate to that necessarily. So it should be fun, it'd be cool, but oh well.
I know, right? I know. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
I know.
Its chief elements are fear and surprise. It's two chief. Anyway,
The Monty Python kicked now, huh? Okay.
yeah, it just kicked in. I'm sorry. It's sort of like when we weren't thinking about the proper naming of the team. Anyway, where were you then? Where was David Bowie?
I was right there with you.
Well, virtually.
Yes.
Yes.
So
It's
anyway, go on.
amazing. Okay. Where was I?
I don't know. You were somewhere.
I was virtually some. Oh, I was thinking that this is an interesting. I love the idea of the escape room, and I love the idea that they can make money that way because that does lead to the idea of the arena-style games that they're talking about, and I guess it's breaking the 4-player boundary. That's going to be the big thing, or just designing games for the 4 players to go into.
Well,
but there would be
yeah,
virtually no reason not to create a Star Wars type experience like you would go into in a Disney theme park or a Universal type park. There should be no difference between that and a Dr. Crumb's.
right.
You know,
Yeah. I was gonna say the four player limit thing is mostly because of Oculus is the limit on the voice party chat.
right.
You can obviously have more than 4 players in a game, more than 4 players in that game's version of a party, like in Orbis. You can have more than 4 people in a party because they're not using Oculus's the voice chat, the party system. And Echo Arena, you can have 5 versus 5. I'm not sure what the upper limit is that you can have on a team in a private match. So there's not really a 4-player limit, except that Oculus parties,
Right.
and some games are using that for their party system, or they're using the lowest tier of a server plan, so they can only have 4 players on a team, or they get bumped up to the next tier or whatever, and they don't quite make enough money to want to bump up. So
Understood. Right. But yeah, back to the basic point was that it seems that it's just amazing what they're pushing the Quest to do. It really is. And it just seems like every month or two there's something that they're promising or Chad is promising, and eventually somebody overrides Chad and actually puts it on the store. Now, if
something
I
like that.
see Phantom Covert Ops actually ever show up on the store, I'll believe
Well,
that the Chad takeover is complete.
It's got another just about exactly 1 month. It's supposed to be June 25th, if I remember right. It's got a date. So
Okay. It had a date
we
too.
mentioned it on a show.
I know. I realized. That's the newest, I guess the most different game that's coming out that I've
Right.
seen. The new shiny object. that's been around for
That's
8 months. Looking at the packaging.
One of the new shinies, yes. Speaking of new shinies, we also have Doom for Quest on SideQuest. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but by all accounts, it's pretty good. And as you were mentioning, it's amazing what they are able to put on the quest and all that, and what individual developers are able to do. On the other hand, Doom, if I remember right, has been known to run on calculators as well.
Right, Doom is really not the most graphically intensive game ever created.
True.
The 3D perspective was groundbreaking. However, at this point, it's hardly groundbreaking. It's sort of a nice nostalgic walk through what was taken for gore at the time.
Right.
Nice big
and
red
moving
pixels.
on to upcoming releases, we have Pro Putt coming out on Thursday, I do believe. It is a mini golf game. I participated in one of the beta waves a while back for it, and it's a pretty fun game. A mini golf game. Going through, all the holes, so various different obstacles. You can, in between holes, have a big bird's eye view of the course and all that. And I don't know what all of the current features are, because I tried it out like 4 or 5 the beta versions ago. But they have interactable things while you are in giant mode, and you can you swing with your controller like you would an actual golf club and whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's got multiplayer. So
anything to differentiate it from Cloudlands, other than the fact that
it is a different kind than Cloudlands. I don't believe the Pro Putt has a level editor right now. The Cloudlands, I believe, does. But the Cloudlands, I don't know much about that either, because I haven't ever played it. But it's a different take on it than the Pro Putt is. They've each got their own take on mini golf. So check them both out, and whichever one you want to do, go for it. Whichever one you don't want to do, don't go for it. If you don't want to do either one, then don't go for either. If you want to do both, then go for both. If you want to go jump off a bridge, I would recommend not doing that.
I would so heartily agree with you. Another month of being stuck in the house, I might disagree with you, but right now I still agree with you.
So,
yes.
Moving on, because we want to keep this a little bit shorter than our usual rambling on for an hour and a half.
We don't ramble.
Me.
We just do thought experiments out loud.
Oh, okay. Let's move on to our news. Magic Leap has magically become delicious. Recovered a little bit. It has received a $350 million cash injection. They're not really sure who or why, but speculation that it was a medical company. And they reversed their 1,000 people layoff notice that they gave back in April. And I know that back in April, it was like, they are laying off 1,000 people. Well, it turns out what it really was is because this is the California law. They have to give 60 or 90 days notice for a massive layoff like that. So everyone was put on notice that in 60 or 90 days, or whichever it is, that they would be laid off. And now that they've received that $350 million, they are reversing that layoff. However, because that $350 million came so late in the game, I've seen a few Magic Leap employees that are now former Magic Leap employees because they are starting tomorrow on a new job. So,
Yeah.
they may lose a few people anyway.
I was going to say, I think that Ronnie Abovitz is one hell of a promoter, and this guy knows how to raise money better than anybody I know at this point, because they've done nothing with Magic Leap, and I could see where a medical company could make use of something like that. But at this point in the game, reading about everybody that's actually in the augmented reality game, not least of which is Apple, I would have to say we've given Magic Leap a very long time to try and produce something.
Yeah, well, they have produced something. They just were trying to target the consumer market, but they had like enterprise pricing.
Right.
You can't do that. You
No.
can't expect the consumers to buy an augmented reality glasses for $3,000. That
No,
no one.
you can't.
And
You
what's
can't.
amazing is that they actually sold some. That they
Right.
sold 6,000 units. They were projecting 100,000.
Well,
So
yeah.
they, that's part of the reason why they are trying to reorient themselves to enterprise rather than the consumer. And at the same time, most people that I have seen the reactions of who have actually tried it, that they are impressed. It works well. It works great. It's a good product. It doesn't quite live up to all that inflated hype that they had at the beginning, but it's a great product for what it actually is.
Well, you see, that's the problem, is when you show a whale jumping up in the middle of a gymnasium and having everybody basically jump back from the water, splashing them, and then you produce something where you have a goldfish jumping out of a bowl, and you have to look really carefully because if you look to the side, it disappears. You have a problem with selling that 3,000. Now, if that whale was to actually jump out of my living room floor, so as I was saying, that whale jumping I would pay the 3,000 if I had it, or I'd finance it, or I'd find a way to get my hands on the thing. But it's like right now with Nreal working on. I saw today that they have the XR, like an add-on that they're putting onto their AR, and there's a lot of competition for AR right now. I really have a feeling that this is jumping in sort of at the gear level of VR. So, but yeah, I wouldn't mind having Ronnie go solicit some money from me. I mean,
Right.
he's good.
Right. But yeah, I know what you mean. They overpromised and under delivered on their overpromise, but had they been more honest about their promise, people would be, oh hey, this is really good, and it might have done a little bit better. I don't know.
Right, they would have had to drop their price point a
Who
little
knows?
bit and
Right.
just be a little more consumer friendly.
Right.
Jenga wasn't worth it. You just couldn't justify $3,000 for Jenga.
Right.
Virtual Jenga.
Right.
Well,
I mean, it does a lot more than that, but
yeah,
yeah.
I know.
And I've tried a couple times to get one of the free ones that they were giving out as part of the Unreal Game Jam sort of stuff. They had like a pitch for an AR game or app or whatever, and you had a chance of having yours to pick, and then you should get Magic Leap, and they had like I don't know, 10 of them to give away. for something like that. So
Yeah, I participated in a few of those. I signed up as a developer when it was still in development. They're right down the block from me. I literally 2 miles down the
right,
block. And look, I wish them the best, but like you said, they really overpromised, and
yeah,
maybe they'll be good for a specific
yeah,
industry, but
yeah, uh, and honestly, I wish them su- success. I don't want to see them to go away. I'm not one of the people that are like, oh, they overpromised and underdelivered. Oh, I hate them now. No, we need all the players that we
oh
can
yeah,
get in this.
absolutely.
So
They were
I want them to succeed.
right.
But for right now, consumer wise, Unreal and the Tilt 5 are the current top runners for that. Apple Glass coming up whenever it actually comes out will probably overtake them because those are both coming out in the last quarter of this year, I believe. Apple was originally supposed to be around then, so
Right. Now they're saying early 2021, but
right, or that it may be then. So who knows? If they all come out at the same time, probably Apple will dominate. Um, if Unreal and Tilt 5 get a chance to get a foothold on the market before Apple comes out, they might have a chance to be second fiddle. But the no,
right, they'll
who
all fall
knows?
to
Uh,
Apple
uh,
at the beginning.
all depends on how well they do at marketing and how well they do at innovating faster than Apple, which is not hard because Apple doesn't like to be at the forefront of the innovation. It likes to go with the tried and the true and perfect that. But
Well,
in
that's
general,
true, but this
in
time
general,
around they're doing something with optics, with the Z-Wave optic, and they really have a wave technology, like they're using LiDAR. You had mentioned
right.
like why they're going with that. So they really do seem to be innovating in a way
But
that nobody else is
at
going.
the same time, all that the stuff has been kind of shut down before, and other things also. So uh, and that's also why I said, generally speaking, they don't like to
Innovate, right?
be at the forefront of innovation. They don't like to be on the bleeding edge.
Right,
They like to be a little bit behind that. Let others take those risk of coming up with the stuff first, and then Apple perfects. You
right,
know,
right.
so
They put their little apple on it. I know.
right,
They
right,
got the logo.
right.
Um,
So, anyways, moving on to another order of news. Oculus for Business is now available.
with $1,000 Quest.
Yep, and services and whatnot, and the ability to have a kiosk mode and controlling multiple units at the same time mode, and
That seems to be its focus is controlling multiple units
yeah,
because they want to use them for training, like we're saying, for
well, yeah,
enterprise, for
yeah,
training, and for
and they don't
virtual
want people
environments.
using them for unauthorized purposes.
Right, exactly. As everybody's in their meeting and some guys at Box VR and,
Right?
you know.
Yeah.
Um, but
So
yeah, it's interesting the way that they sort of, you know, promised it, hinted it, promised it, and then all of a sudden it's there without any real fanfare. I
right.
didn't like just like, oh really?
I wonder if Facebook Horizon is going to be that way also.
Well, they're certainly
All of
not
a
making
sudden,
any.
it's there.
I know. Well, look, I would hope so. I mean, half and half was like trying to get us ready for Horizon. Did you ever try half and half?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Well, that was
It
just,
was, yeah.
yeah, it stinks. But I mean, it was a basis, it was like a sandbox for Horizon, basically. Like, can this work to some degree? Not a sandbox so much as a tech demo of. It sucked. Okay, I'm trying to make it sound better than it was.
far as I know, they weren't a Facebook thing, but okay.
Oh, but they were.
We'll just run by that. We'll just run by
Okay,
that.
but if you look at the environment, it is. It's what they show you from Horizon. You know, it's that hide and seek thing and changing the sizes and the way that you interact. Those are all like what Disney did at the World's Fair before they built Disney World. You know, they're experimenting.
Hide and seek.
Well, that's one of the games. There's a few of them, but that was the only one I really.
No, it had Disney World before had the World's Fair. They had you play hide and seek.
Not okay.
I know.
Moving
I'm
on.
taking it too literally. Sorry.
Yes, way too literally.
Regardless, I see a lot more differences than apparently you are seeing, but that's it's a matter of a personal opinion.
Okay.
I think it remains to be seen if Oculus for Business proves to be a success or not, because there have already been a few side-loaded apps out there that do the same thing. You know,
Right.
I mean, this is an all-in-one official support and all that. So, you know,
Enterprise likes official
I know that a
support.
lot of enterprise users are going to be more comfortable working with official than with a side-loaded.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, but it remains to be seen how well it does. Hopefully, it does well because anything that furthers adoption is a good thing, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I was going to say that one of the things I was reading about today, and I don't even know if we put it in our schedule for the news, was the Chinese headset. Did you read about that? The 4K 6DOF standalone headset developed
No,
by
I think I heard about that.
Okay, read. You'll see it later. Just type that in and you'll find it on like several sites. But
Okay.
the company that is like the Netflix of China came out with this headset. And I know that there's another company in China that produces the movies that also wanted to do this. So I
Right.
don't know, and it's 4K 60OF. So I'm wondering if it's 4K just for media consumption as opposed to gaming, and why would you need 60OF just for video? But whatever, and it goes for the equivalent of $569,
Right. Huh?
which
I
is,
don't know.
I don't know, but that was a pretty interesting read. So yeah, there's stuff happening every single day that just changes the industry.
Right.
That's my point when we were getting with Nreal and the others, you know,
Right.
and Magic Leap. It's like Magic Leap was a Magic Leap 3 years ago. Now it's just sort of a progression.
Now it's just sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Until it has the hand tracking. Oh, they do have hand tracking. I think.
Yeah. Moving on to other news. It's almost completely old news by now because we had a lot of delays in recording and getting this podcast out. But we have the Year of Quest and the Year of Rift S anniversary sales going on. We
Right.
already alluded to that earlier in the beginning of the podcast. They are almost done as of today, Monday, the 25th, near the end of Memorial Day. Ignore the dog barking in the background.
These are not the
He is
dogs
just
you want.
expressing his disappointment with the discounts on the Year of Quest sale. He is so disappointed he has to shout it out to the world that there's only 20% off and 25% off.
Which
Unless
was,
you are looking at the Rift store, in which you get more
70.
and better discounts.
I know. But then
And a
again, they
lot more
feel
titles,
bad.
too.
And no hand tracking. And no hand tracking.
Well, yeah. That's kind of a given. Because it doesn't have hand tracking. So
I know.
only the Quest does.
I know.
So they're
Poor
not going to have
Rift
a hand
store.
tracking app in the Rift store.
I know. I know. It's very strange. The entire Rift device and the support for it at this point is bizarre. Really. Now that the link cable will work basically with any
Right.
cable and the virtual desktop, and it does sort of seem to make the Rift a little outdated, so to speak.
Maybe. maybe. Yeah, I mean, you do have a point. It hasn't gotten as many updates I have heard, or as many new features added. It's been getting mostly uh, the bug fix updates and not really new feature updates.
Right.
And I mean, the Quest is getting all the love, but that's probably partially because it's getting all the love from the market. And so Facebook has gone, okay, we do need to pour money into that and the development into that because that's what's just selling and driving app sales, and we need to focus on that.
Right. Well, it seemed to have really, what did they come up with? How many million did they say that they sold in games?
100 million, I believe.
Right, which is pretty good for 1 year of a brand new platform. I mean,
Yeah. However, speaking of Link and virtual desktop and all that stuff, supposedly, according to Facebook, Jason Rubin, I believe it was him who said this, cloud streaming for Oculus is more than 5 years away.
I don't get that.
Well, that's going to seriously entrench Shadow in the marketplace.
Oh my God! He might as well have just handed the keys over to them in SideQuest and just get out of the way.
Right.
Really.
Yeah. On the other hand, he also said that in the next year or so, the Quest should get some really big, deep games, which a lot of people are interpreting as AAA titles. It could be AAA. It could just be that it's going to be longer form and the deeper storylines and whatnot.
Right. I don't know what deep. Right, because he said deeper games. Right.
Right. He said really big, deep games. Yes.
Right. So to me, Moss was a deep game. Red Matter was a deep game. There were games in there that take you.
Kind of a little bit deep, but it was more just really well done. It wasn't really that deep or complex a story. No, it was just really well done.
Yes, but it was a great introduction. Right. I mean, for the next one, and it's a great platformer.
Right.
You can see where it's just going to go. And that's what I'm saying, though, but it's a deep platformer because it's got that storyline to it, and it has that whole other world that it built and really brought to life, I thought. So.
Right. It's deeper than a lot of games, yes. But, so anyway, it remains to be seen. I like that phrase, evidently.
Obviously.
What exactly he means. If he means the AAA titles, or if he just means that we'll have more of those meteor games to come in.
Right.
So, and I think, as we were just saying, Oculus is kind of shooting themselves in the foot with the cloud streaming, because virtual desktop, if you're doing it with a local PC over your local Wi-Fi, I have heard is right on par with Link as far as the latency and everything and the quality. Doing it over the internet, well, I'm doing that, and there are times when you can notice a little bit of latency that's more than usual. When your hands are lagging just a little bit behind the interaction motion, but for the most part, it's pretty solid, and most of the times the latency is not really noticeable. It's only really noticeable if you're just paying attention to, oh, hey, I just moved my hand like that, and then my hand went like that, 25 milliseconds later,
Right, in Echo, you'll notice it, but other than a game where a zombie's about to kill you, not so much.
Right. So, but yeah, for the most part, It's pretty solid. You're not really going to notice it unless you are really ultra sensitive to that stuff. And I think cloud streaming from Oculus should be no more than 1 year out. But I don't know what it is they are working on. Maybe they're doing something that's going to work even better than Shadow, but they need to get all the hardware and equipment and extra radio broadcast towers set up or whatever. I don't know.
They certainly have the infrastructure to be able to set something like this up pretty instantly,
Yeah.
at least on a beta level
Right.
tomorrow, pretty much. I mean, we're not talking about something major. It's not like they're inventing the wheel.
Right.
They just have to hire the guys from Shadow or buy it.
Yeah, because they've already done it. Shadow's
Right.
already done it. The Stadia, much
Well, let's
not
not
really
talk
the
about
best
Stadia.
product,
Right.
it's doing it. NVIDIA has a cloud thing, if I remember right. And so
And Xbox, too.
right, yeah. So I've heard that's called Xcould.
Yeah, some of our members do chime their way through the battery power to the could.
Yeah.
But,
So, anyways, moving on before we get ourselves in trouble there.
yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Godot engine is being used to make more and more the VR games, including Quest games, and they have now, I believe, a Beat Saber clone you can just try out, as well as like a lab, the demo world thing.
Right.
So, and
Beep Saber, I believe
Yeah.
it's called.
yeah, I think they call it Beep Saber.
Right, Beep Saber. It's not. They don't even go Beep Saber. It's Beep
Yeah.
Saber.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they
So
released.
it's that they are working hard on making it an alternative to Unity and Unreal. I haven't really checked it out to see how easy it is to use, but hey, the more engines, the better. Also, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Sure.
So, and the last bit of news that I have is see-through systems by Quake Technologies. That's Quake with a W instead of a U. Obviously, their U key was broken.
I see. Brought to you by the makers of QWERTY.
Yes. What this is it's called Iron Man AR for firefighters, and it's a mask that they wear because they've got to wear a mask when they go into a smoke and fire filled building, and it's a mask that they wear that has an AR field, and some of the shots I've seen it covering both eyes, and some I've seen it only covering one. But it uses special technology to let them see through the smoke more easily, so they can see the outlines of the objects that are in the room. Because when you've got a room that is filled with smoke, you can't see what objects are in front of you. It's like being in the middle of some of our fogs out here where you can't see 5 feet in front of you. Yeah. So,
exactly, and sometimes not even that far. So
right.
Under a situation like they're going into, it's not like they're just walking through a fog. So no, it's perfect. I mean, look, we're using it in military situations now, so there's no reason why firefighters shouldn't be able to have something like that.
Right, and I remember reading the discussions of this technology a long time ago, well, it feels like a long time ago. It was actually really like a year and a half, or 2 years, but still. That's a long
In this
time
field, that is a
to
long time.
hit
Yeah.
this field.
There was
Um,
no quest, and the go was something new.
right. So, but I remember reading and hearing about the technology and going, oh wow, that would be super cool. And now here there's an actual product of it. And if it gets adopted by firefighters, that I mean that's a potential game changer there. That'll make their job so much safer for them.
You know, you just brought up a point, and I hate to even bring it up, and it's a great idea. The only problem is that things like that are state funded, not federally funded, and at this point in time, because of what just went through with the
Right. I
pandemic,
know it all depends on if they are able to adopt it or not, because they may look at it and go, "Yeah, that's a great idea, but our budget just ended."
exactly, exactly that,
Yeah,
which is horrifying because what you're saying is it's like a perfect piece for firemen
yeah,
at this point, absolutely
yeah.
perfect. And to just not be able to afford it because of what just happened is really something.
Right. Well, it's not even necessarily about what just just happened. It's like our uh, our fire district out here.
Mhm.
They don't have any forensic firefighters. They don't have any forensic stuff. That gets outsourced to the county, which is like 15 miles away.
Oh, wow.
That headquarters,
Right.
So because this is a small town area, yeah. So they don't have the staff to have a big building, and they don't have the staff to support forensic firefighters and all this other stuff. You know, so they're not going to get this see-through technologies. They're not going to get Iron Man AR because they don't have the budget for it. And to be honest, most of what they do doesn't really require that. Most of what they do is going out and helping people who fell and they can't get up. You know?
True, but you would think at least one or two per truck
Right.
would be something that you'd
Well,
want.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure that they would like it. I mentioned it when my son and excuse me, his Cub Scout den got a tour of the fire station recently, and I brought that up. I was asking, what about the the VR training for the forensic firefighting or just firefighting in general? What about the AR stuff that you see through the smoke? And they said, yeah, all that's really so cool and all, and we're interested in that, but in all honesty, that would be something that would be done at the county building, not out here.
Right. That's
So
a shame. Let's hope that it comes that we use these augmentations to really further our society. It's
yeah,
crazy. It should be adopted. I'm sure some areas will, the areas that have the money, and then hopefully they'll be able
yeah,
to get production up, get
well,
prices
yeah,
down.
yeah. I mean it, and in all honesty, where you are most likely to have a firefighter going through a building that's filled with smoke is in those bigger cities. In all honesty,
True, to a degree.
that
I mean, also warehouses,
well,
though,
yeah,
and things like that.
that's why I said more likely. You
Right.
know, I mean, there are always instances out here in the boonies as well because we do have warehouses and factories out here. But um, you know, for the most part, where that's going to be more more useful is the population centers
Mhm.
because that's where you're going to get more of those 3 alarm, 4 alarm, and 5 alarm fires.
Right.
So.
But still, it's nice, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that they'll end up applying it to some sort of technology for the police department as well, like
Oh
they
yeah.
do
I
with
mean, I'm sure at some point, policemen will have AR glasses that will identify a person they are looking at, and then pull up the rap sheet on them right then and there. Won't that be an invasion of privacy?
oh, as their Facebook page comes up and all of their social media
Yeah.
sites come up next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Really. That's a nice warm
Then
feeling.
we might as well all move to China.
I think China's coming this way, so I think we could just stay put. We don't know. We'll see.
So, anyways, um, I think that about wraps it up for our news. I know you would put on our Trello board a core topic of Quest 1 year review. I think we're already at about an hour in our podcast, though. So, if you want to just run over really quick what you were intending to share with that.
Well, I would have gone into it, probably could have taken the whole show, but
Right.
bottom line is we've had it for a year. You and I, as
Right.
well as some of our friends that were the first in and couldn't wait to get it.
Yep.
And now that we're up to version 17 of the operating system,
Mm-hmm.
it's a much better unit than the one that I purchased, which
Yep.
is very, very unusual to say a year after you bought something that it's now
Right.
even more advanced than it was
Right.
when I first
True.
got it.
That is
So,
a very good point. I know that was not the case for my PlayStation when I got it way back when.
right, I can't think of any other platform that really kept improving on its own
Right.
hardware. I mean, yes,
Right.
they come out with new versions and new iterations, but to bring their own hardware up to that type of level in
Right.
such a quick time, especially standalone and on a phone, an old phone chip, I mean, it's
Right.
just insanity. It really is. So I have a lot of high hopes for it. This is going to go compared to what they've done with what they've had.
No, you kept going more and more.
Pardon me as I get eaten by the alligator over here. Um,
So yeah,
anyway, yeah. So
yeah,
I was going to say that it's really the only time I think I've ever bought a piece of technical equipment. Not that I haven't been satisfied with other tech things I've had for more than a year or two, but one that's really taken such advances and not charged for them. It's not like
Right.
there's been any sort of upcharge at this point.
Right.
It's,
well, yeah, true.
and the game development as well. I mean, we've had so many updates to games with no
Right.
upcharge, free updates, making the
Right.
games better and watching the developers hone their skills.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting time for
Yeah.
the Quest. It really
Yep.
has.
And I am looking forward to seeing what the supposed Quest 1.5, Quest S, whatever you want to call it, will actually be when it comes out. Will it be worth buying it, or will it be worth just buying the controllers because they are supposed to be backward compatible with our existing Quest? I don't know. But
I don't know, but those
with all
Jedi
the innovations they've already done, as you mentioned, who knows? It may come out and be chock full of even more innovations that make me go, bye, hello.
I know it's not that we're early adopters or anything, right? But yeah, I
I'm usually not
salivate.
only because I can't afford to, but
Exactly, same here. But I am going to look at it critically because I might want to wait for the Quest 2.0. It really does depend on what they're going to give
I
me.
want to wait for the Quest 2.5.
Ooh, I want the 2.7 Fireball. The Quest XT.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great.
As long as they don't have the Quest ME.
Oh God. I think that operating system was out for about a half an hour. I think, if that long.
Before it started getting panned.
Oh my God, that was, considering all of the bad operating systems they've had, That one was the winner. I grant you that.
Yeah, I completely bypassed that, and I went to Windows 2000.
Yeah. My bad stop was at Alta Vista. At Vista, that was really not a very good operating system.
Alta Vista.
Vista.
Oh,
Vista.
Okay, yeah.
I always called it Alta Vista just because it was, but yeah, Vista was terrible. And the only thing it really offered was that arrow design where the windows would like sort of fly in that 3D angle, and you just couldn't use it because it sucked up all the resources of your computer, and if you kept it on, you just couldn't do anything else.
I wouldn't know. I never really had Vista. I think my wife did, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I went, as I mentioned, the Windows 2000 Pro route, which I got for free, legally.
Wow. How'd you manage that?
Because I live near Redmond, and I don't anymore, but I used to. So when you live near Redmond, you can sign up to be part of the beta testing, and when you go up and you do beta testing, you earn points that you can redeem for software and whatnot. And I got enough points that I redeemed it for Windows 2000 Pro.
Cool. That was very cool. Not now. Now it sort of seems a little archaic, but back then, very cool.
Right. So yeah. So those of you who enjoy handwriting on your Windows devices, I contributed handwriting samples. I contributed voice samples. I contributed the gameplay feedback and Need for Speed or whatever it was. I whatnot. And I got pizza and a Coke.
And Windows 2000 Pro?
Yes.
Wow.
So,
which was better?
In that area because you get access to a whole bunch of beta testing opportunities.
Wow. I'm thinking the pizza and the Coke, man. That's enough.
I know, right? It was like an all-day play the game. We got pizza, Coke, Pepsi for you.
What could be better? Seriously.
I know, right?
I would do it without the pizza. Well, without the Coke, anyway.
So anyways, I think that about wraps it up. Now that we've moved completely away from VR.
Yeah, and the Quest in review. So in review, I love it.
Yep, I love it too. Oh, wait. There.
All right. So speaking of which, subscribe, like,
yep.
And
pay your friends money to also like and subscribe.
Remember, money is no object. It's getting this show off the air that's important.
Something like that.
Well, getting it on the air.
Yes. There you go. Off the air is no.
Bad.
We can do that ourselves just by not uploading anything.
That's true. Or by uploading everything in.
Yes. So, that said, goodbye. Hasta la vista, pasta Luigi. Bye.
Australia.